A struggling single dad walks into a glittering ballroom, holding nothing but courage in his heart and a $20 ring in his pocket. When he kneels before the woman he loves, the wealthy crowd bursts into laughter, led by one woman who mocks him mercilessly. But what none of them know is the heartbreaking truth behind that tiny ring. For months, he starved himself, just so his little girl would never go without, and still saved enough to buy that one small symbol of love. Now, as cruel whispers spread and judgment crushes him, a secret sacrifice comes to light that will leave everyone questioning what real wealth means. Will love survive when pride, poverty, and prejudice collide? Or will his sacrifice prove that even the poorest man can be richer than them all? Before we get into the story, comment below where in the world you are watching from today. Daniel stood before the cracked mirror in his tiny apartment bathroom, smoothing down the lapels of his decade-old suit. The fabric pulled tight across his shoulders where years of manual labor had broadened them, and the hem of the trousers hung a touch too high above his worn dress shoes. His calloused fingers trembled as they worked the buttons. "Daddy, you missed a spot." Lily appeared in the doorway, pointing at a wrinkle near his collar. Her small fingers clutched the iron's cord, dragging it behind her like a metallic pet. "Thank you, sweetheart." Daniel knelt to her level, accepting the iron. The apartment's single working outlet meant he had to stretch the cord from the kitchen, but they made do. They always did. "You look like a real prince," Lily declared, tilting her head to study him. "Like in my storybooks, Rebecca's gonna think you're so handsome." Daniel's throat tightened. He set the iron aside and pulled his daughter close, breathing in the scent of her strawberry shampoo, the cheap kind from the dollar store, but she never complained. "You think so?" "I know so." She patted his cheek with sticky fingers that smelled of peanut butter from dinner. "And when you give her the present, she's gonna cry happy tears. That's what happens in all the best stories." His hand drifted to his jacket pocket, fingers finding the small velvet box hidden there. 3 months of skipped lunches. 3 months of telling his co-workers he wasn't hungry, of drinking extra water to fill his stomach while mopping the school hallways. The ring inside cost $20 less than what the wealthy parents spent on coffee each week at the school where he worked. "Lily, why don't you go finish your homework while already done?" Mrs. Patterson helped me during recess. She bounced on her toes. "Can I watch you practice?" "Practice what?" "The proposal. You gotta practice so you don't mess up the words." Daniel's stomach churned. The party started in an hour, and the address Rebecca had given him was in Rosewood Heights, where houses had gates and pools and more bathrooms than his apartment had rooms. "I don't know what to say yet. Just tell her you love her." Lily grabbed his hands, swinging them back and forth. "And that she makes the best sandwiches, and that her hair smells nice. And those are all good suggestions." Daniel squeezed her hands, then released them to check his watch, a cheap digital thing with a cracked face. "Mrs. Chen will be here soon to watch you. I wish I could come." "I know, baby. Next time." He turned back to the mirror, attempting to tame a stubborn cowlick. His reflection stared back, tired eyes, lines etched deep from years of worry, hands that would never be smooth, no matter how much lotion he used. What was he doing? Thinking someone like Rebecca would want this? Would want him? "Daddy?" Lily tugged his sleeve. "You're doing that thing again." "What thing?" "Where you get all scared and your face goes funny." She scrunched up her nose in imitation. "Rebecca loves you. She told me so when she came to career day." Daniel's chest warmed at the memory. Rebecca had insisted on visiting his daughter's class, had spoken about teaching with such passion that even the restless 8-year-olds sat transfixed. Afterward, she'd found him in the hallway, pushing his mop bucket, and kissed him right there where anyone could see. A knock rattled the door. "Mrs. Chen's voice called through. "Daniel, it's me." He opened the door to find his elderly neighbor holding a covered dish that steamed with the scent of dumplings. "For Lily's dinner," she said, pushing past him. "You go. Don't worry about anything here." Mrs. Chen, I can't keep. Hush, she waved him off, already helping Lily set the table. Go get your woman. The drive to Rosewood Heights took 40 minutes in his ancient Honda Civic, the engine wheezing up the hills that separated his world from theirs. Each mile brought bigger houses, greener lawns, cars that cost more than he'd make in 5 years. By the time he reached the country club's valet stand, his palms were slick with sweat. The valet's eyes swept over his car with barely concealed disdain. Are you here for the Morrison engagement party? Yes. Keys, sir. Daniel handed them over, watching the young man drive his car to the far corner of the lot, away from the Mercedes and BMWs that gleamed under the decorative lights. The ballroom entrance towered before him, all marble and crystal, and the soft sound of classical music drifting through the doors. He pressed his hand to his pocket one more time, feeling the box's outline, then stepped inside. The room hit him like a physical force. Chandeliers dripped crystals that caught the light and scattered it in rainbow patterns across women, wrapped in silk and men in suits that fit like second skins. Jewelry glittered on necks and wrists, and fingers, especially fingers, diamond rings that caught the light like captured stars. Daniel! Rebecca's voice cut through his panic. She moved through the crowd toward him, and his breath caught. She wore a simple blue dress, nothing like the elaborate gowns around her, but she was the most beautiful thing in the room. You made it. She took his hands, not caring who saw. I was getting worried. Traffic. He lied, not wanting to admit he'd sat in the parking lot for 10 minutes, gathering courage. Rebecca, Daniel's voice cracked. His hands shook as he pulled the small velvet box from his pocket. The room seemed to press in on him, all those glittering diamonds catching light like accusing eyes. He dropped to one knee. The marble floor was cold through his thin dress pants. What I mean to say is, he opened the box. The tiny silver band inside looked even smaller under the chandeliers, its single chip of crystal barely visible. You changed everything. Before you, I was just getting through each day. But you made me want to be better, to believe I could be more than, oh my God. Claudia's laugh cut through the room like breaking glass. Is that from a gumball machine? Heat flooded Daniel's face. Someone behind him whispered. A woman covered her mouth with a manicured hand, her 3-carat diamond catching the light. Daniel! Rebecca dropped to her knees in front of him, her blue dress pooling around her. She took his face in her hands. Keep going. I don't have much. The words tumbled out. I know that. But what I have is yours. My heart, my life, my promise to love you every single day. Will you? Yes. She pulled the ring from the box with trembling fingers. The band slipped onto her finger, slightly loose, slightly tarnished at the edges. Rebecca held her hand up to the light, and tears streamed down her cheeks. It's the most beautiful thing anyone's ever given me. Rebecca, be serious. Claudia stepped forward, her red dress rustling. That thing is perfect. Rebecca stood, pulling Daniel up with her. It's perfect because he chose it, because he saved for it. Because when he looks at me, he doesn't see my teaching salary or my car or anything except me. The room fell silent. An elderly woman near the piano began to clap, soft and slow. Others joined her, the sound spreading through the ballroom like ripples on water. You're making a mistake, Claudia hissed, but her voice was lost in the gentle applause. Rebecca kissed Daniel, right there in front of everyone. When she pulled back, her eyes were bright. Let's go home. They collected Lily from Mrs. Chen's apartment, the little girl bouncing with excitement when she saw the ring on Rebecca's finger. You said yes. I knew you would. Lily grabbed Rebecca's hand, examining the ring under the hallway's fluorescent lights. Daddy showed it to me last week. He hid it in the coffee can above the fridge. Your daddy has good taste, Rebecca said, squeezing Daniel's hand. They walked to Rebecca's car she always drove when they went anywhere together, her sedan reliable where his Civic wheezed and sputtered. Lily chattered from the back seat about wedding dresses and flowers and whether they could have chocolate cake. We should stop for ice cream to celebrate, Rebecca suggested, catching Daniel's eye in the rearview mirror. "Can we, Daddy? Please?" "Of course, baby." At the ice cream shop, Lily ordered strawberry with rainbow sprinkles. Daniel reached for his wallet, but Rebecca had already paid. She always did that, quick and casual, preserving his dignity in small ways that made him love her more. They sat outside on metal chairs, the spring evening cool against their skin. Lily got ice cream on her nose, and Rebecca wiped it off with a napkin, the gesture so natural it made Daniel's chest ache. "Daddy didn't eat dinner lots of times," Lily announced suddenly, licking her cone. "He said he wasn't hungry, but I knew he was saving money." Rebecca's hand found his under the table. "For the ring," Lily continued, oblivious to the way Daniel's shoulders tensed. "Mrs. Chen kept bringing us food, and Daddy would give me his portion. He said he ate at work, but I checked his lunchbox once, and it only had crackers." "Lily, it's okay." Rebecca's voice was thick. She stood and moved to his side of the table, wrapping her arms around him from behind. "Thank you." "For what?" "For choosing me, for sacrificing for me, for loving me enough to—" She pressed her face into his shoulder, and he felt wetness through his shirt. Across the street, a familiar red dress caught his eye. Claudia stood outside the wine bar, her phone pressed to her ear. Even from this distance, he could see her watching them, her lips moving rapid fire. "That's pathetic." Her voice carried on the evening air as she spoke to whoever was on the other end. "What kind of man starves himself for a $20 ring? It's embarrassing." "Rebecca's lost her mind if she thinks that's romantic." She paced, her heels clicking on the sidewalk. "No real man would do that. Real men provide. They don't make their children watch them go hungry for some cheap gesture." Daniel's jaw clenched, but Rebecca's arms tightened around him. "Don't listen to her. She's not wrong. She's completely wrong." Rebecca moved to face him, her hands on either side of his face. "You know what I see? A man who loves with his whole heart, who sacrifices without keeping score, who teaches his daughter that love means giving, not taking." Claudia's laugh drifted across the street, sharp and cruel. "I'm telling you, he's after her money. Why else would someone like him pursue someone like her? Mark my words, this won't end well." The seed was planted. Daniel could feel it. Tomorrow, Claudia's whispers would spread through Rebecca's social circle, through the school where they both worked, through every corner of their small town. But tonight, with Rebecca's arms around him and Lily's sticky fingers holding his hand, he pushed the worry away. The next morning arrived too soon. Daniel's alarm buzzed at 5:30, same as always. He slipped out of bed and checked on Lily, still curled beneath her faded Disney princess blanket. The ring box sat empty on his dresser. Rebecca had insisted on wearing it home. He made Lily's lunch in the dim kitchen light. Peanut butter sandwich, an apple from the discount bin, and the last juice box from the pack. Her lunchbox, bought at Goodwill, had someone else's initials scratched into the plastic, but Lily never complained. "Morning, Daddy." She shuffled in, hair wild from sleep. "Morning, baby. Breakfast is on the table." She ate her cereal while he braided her hair, his thick fingers gentle despite years of manual labor. At 7 sharp, they walked to school together, her small hand warm in his. "Mrs. Thompson asked if you really proposed yesterday," Lily said as they neared the building. "I told her about the ring and everything." Daniel's stomach tightened. Mrs. Thompson ran in Claudia's circle. At the school, he changed into his janitor's uniform in the supply closet that doubled as his break room. The morning passed in familiar routine, mopping halls, fixing a leaky fountain, unclogging toilets. During lunch, he sat alone in the closet, eating crackers from a sleeve he kept in his locker. His phone buzzed. "Rebecca, having lunch with some teacher friends. Wish you were here." He smiled, typing back, "Me too. Love you." What he didn't know was that Rebecca sat across from 3 women who peppered her with questions. "Claudia says he's bankrupt," Mrs. Thompson said, stirring her salad. "Lost everything when his wife died." "That's not your business," Rebecca said. "We're just worried about you." This from Sarah, the principal's secretary. "You come from a good family. You could have anyone." "I want Daniel." "But a janitor? Really?" Rebecca's hand went to the ring. "His job doesn't define him. He's raising an incredible little girl. He works hard. He loves me." "Love doesn't pay bills, Mrs. Thompson said. "Claudia mentioned he can barely afford rent." "Claudia should mind her own business." Sarah leaned forward. "She's only trying to protect you. She says he didn't eat for weeks to buy that ring. What kind of man does that? What happens when you have children? Will they go hungry too?" Rebecca stood, her chair scraping against the floor. "A man who sacrifices everything for the people he loves. That's who Daniel is. And if you can't see how beautiful that is, then I feel sorry for you." She left them staring, but doubt crept in as she walked back to her classroom. Not about Daniel, never about him, but about whether she was strong enough to stand against the tide of judgment. That evening, Daniel parked his sputtering Civic outside Rebecca's parents' house. The Colonial stood pristine on its manicured lawn, everything his apartment complex wasn't. Rebecca met him at the door, kissing him before he could speak. "They want to talk," she whispered. "About us." Her parents waited in the living room. Her mother, Patricia, sat straight-backed on the cream sofa. Her father, Robert, stood by the fireplace, hands clasped behind him. "Daniel?" Robert's handshake was firm but brief. "Please, sit." The leather chair seemed to swallow him. His suit, the same one from last night, felt cheaper in this room full of antiques and oil paintings. "We hear congratulations are in order," Patricia said. Her smile didn't reach her eyes. "Yes, ma'am. Rebecca says you work at the school. I'm on the maintenance staff. A janitor." Robert's tone was neutral, but Daniel heard the judgment beneath. "It's honest work." "Of course," Patricia smoothed her skirt. "And you have a daughter?" "Lily. She's 8. Her mother?" Daniel's throat tightened. "She passed away 3 years ago. Medical bills must have been substantial." There it was. The real question. Daniel kept his voice steady. "We managed. But you're managing still, aren't you?" Robert moved from the fireplace. "Debts don't just disappear." Rebecca reached for Daniel's hand. "Dad, please. We're concerned, sweetheart. You're our only daughter. I don't need your money, but he might." The words hung in the air. Daniel stood, his dignity the only thing they couldn't take. "I should go." "Daniel, wait," Rebecca started, but the doorbell interrupted. Patricia answered it, and Claudia swept in. Red dress replaced by designer jeans and a silk blouse that probably cost more than Daniel made in a month. "Oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't know you had company." Her smile was razor sharp. "I just came to return Rebecca's sweater." She handed over nothing, her hands empty, the lie transparent. "We were just leaving," Daniel said. "Don't rush off on my account." Claudia's eyes glittered. "Though I suppose you need to get Lily from whatever aftercare you use. She's with Mrs. Chen. Your neighbor? How convenient." Rebecca stood, pulling Daniel toward the door. As they passed Claudia, the woman leaned close to Rebecca, her whisper designed to carry. "He'll drag you down, darling. Love fades, but poverty, that's forever." Rebecca's hand tightened in Daniel's, but she kept walking. In the driveway, she pressed her forehead against his chest. "I'm sorry." "For what?" "All of it. Them. Her." "You don't need to apologize for other people." She looked up at him, and he saw the struggle in her eyes, the war between her heart and the voices telling her she was making a mistake. "I love you," she said. "I know." But knowing wasn't the same as believing it would be enough. The park stretched green and welcoming under Saturday's sun. Daniel spread the old quilt on the grass while Lily bounced around him, her pigtails flying. "Here, Daddy, this spot." She pointed to a patch of shade beneath an oak tree. Rebecca carried the picnic basket wicker coming loose at one corner, handle reinforced with duct tape Daniel had tried to color brown. She didn't seem to notice its shabbiness, or if she did, she didn't care. Peanut butter and jelly, Lily announced, pulling sandwiches from the basket. Daddy makes the best ones. He cuts off all the crusts. Does he now? Rebecca accepted the sandwich wrapped in a paper towel. No fancy containers or matching plates, just simple food made with care. They sat close on the blanket, Lily wedged between them. She took alternating bites of her sandwich and chattering about school, her feet kicking happily. "Tell Rebecca about Mommy," Lily said suddenly. Daniel stiffened. Rebecca touched his arm. "You don't have to." "No, it's okay." He looked at his daughter, then at Rebecca. Sarah was. She was sunshine. Even at the end, when the cancer had taken so much, she still smiled, still believed good things were coming. "She told me I'd have a new mommy someday," Lily said matter-of-factly. "She said God would send someone special." Rebecca's eyes glistened. Daniel continued, his voice soft. "Those last months, when the treatment stopped working, she made me promise things. To keep going to church, to teach Lily, to be kind, to stay open to love." He picked at the quilt's fraying edge. "I didn't think I could, didn't think I'd ever want to, but faith carried me through. That and this one." He tugged Lily's pigtail gently. "Daddy cried a lot," Lily said, "but he always said God had a plan, even when we had to move to the small apartment. Even when the lights got turned off that one time. Lily, it's okay, Daddy. Rebecca should know. That's when you taught me to play shadow puppets with the flashlight, remember? You said we were having an adventure." Rebecca wrapped her arm around the little girl, who immediately snuggled against her. "You smell nice," Lily said, "like flowers. Mommy smelled like medicine at the end, but before that, she smelled like cookies." "What do I smell like?" Daniel asked, trying to lighten the moment. "Work soap," Lily giggled. "The green kind from school." They laughed, and for a moment, sitting there on the threadbare quilt with their simple lunch, they were complete. A family. Daniel watched Rebecca braid Lily's hair, saw how naturally they fit together, and allowed himself to imagine Sunday dinners and bedtime stories, Christmas mornings and birthday parties. "Can I call you Mommy?" Lily asked suddenly. "Oh, sweetheart, almost Mommy. You're almost like Mommy. Daddy's going to marry you, right? That's what the ring means?" Rebecca looked at Daniel over Lily's head. "That's exactly what it means." "Good. Then you're almost Mommy until the wedding. Then you're real Mommy." Lily's logic was absolute, her satisfaction complete. They started packing up, shaking crumbs from the quilt, when voices carried across the park. Claudia appeared over the hill with 3 other women, all dressed in flowing sundresses and wide-brimmed hats, carrying baskets that looked like magazine props. "Oh my!" Claudia's voice dripped false surprise. "Rebecca, is that you?" The women approached, their eyes taking in every detail, Daniel's faded jeans, the duct-taped basket, Lily's second-hand sneakers. "We're having our monthly charity luncheon," Claudia said, "planning the hospital gala. You know, the one that raises hundreds of thousands?" She paused. "Oh, but I suppose that's not really your world anymore." "We're having a picnic," Rebecca said evenly. "How quaint." Claudia's gaze landed on the basket. "Is that from the thrift store on Maple? I donated several just like it last year. So wonderful to see them being used." Daniel's jaw tightened, but Lily piped up. "Daddy fixed it. He's good at fixing things." "I'm sure he is, sweetie." Claudia's smile was razor sharp. "He has to be, doesn't he?" One of the other women, a blonde Daniel recognized from the engagement party, stage whispered, "Is this the one with the $20 ring?" They all looked at Rebecca's hand. "It's so minimalist," another said. "Very trendy, choosing experiences over things. Though one does need some things," Claudia added, "like proper shoes for children and homes in good school districts. And college funds." Rebecca stood, pulling Lily with her. "We have everything we need." "Do you?" Claudia stepped closer. "Because from where I'm standing, you're settling for picnics on old blankets when you could be having champagne brunches." You're playing house with someone else's child when you could have your own properly provided for, of course. That's enough. Daniel's voice was quiet but firm. I'm only saying what everyone's thinking. Rebecca's from a good family. She has a degree, a career, options, and she's choosing this. She gestured at their small gathering. Love fades, dear, but sacrifice? That gets old very fast. She swept away with her entourage, leaving silence in her wake. She's mean, Lily said. I don't like her. Let's go home, Daniel said, not meeting Rebecca's eyes. As they walked to the car, Rebecca slipped her hand into his. She's wrong. Is she? Rebecca stopped, making him face her. Love isn't about champagne brunches. It's about shadow puppets when the lights go out. It's about cutting crusts off sandwiches. It's about choosing each other again and again, even when the world says we shouldn't. You deserve more than I can give you. You give me everything that matters. But Daniel heard Claudia's words echoing with each step toward his rusty car, each rattle as the engine started. Some voices, once heard, were hard to silence. The kitchen table wobbled when Lily pressed too hard with her pencil. Rebecca steadied it with her knee while pointing to the multiplication problem. 7 times 8? 56! Lily beamed. Mrs. Johnson says I'm the fastest in class at times tables. That's wonderful, sweetheart. Daniel stood at the sink, washing the same plate for the 3rd time. The stack of envelopes on the counter seemed to grow taller in his peripheral vision. Red stamps, final notices, past due. The words blurred together into one message: failure. Daddy, can Rebecca stay for dinner? We already ate dinner, Lilybug. That was just soup. Real dinner has vegetables. You always say vegetables are important. Rebecca caught the quick flush on Daniel's neck. She'd seen the nearly empty fridge when she'd gotten Lily a glass of water. 2 eggs, half a loaf of bread, a jar of peanut butter. I should get going anyway, she said gently. School night for both of us. But you just got here. I'll see you tomorrow. Your dad's picking you up from school, right? Daniel dried his hands on a dishcloth that had seen better days. After my shift. Rebecca's eyes drifted to the bills. The top one, partially visible, showed a 3-month overdue electricity payment. She looked away quickly, but not quickly enough. Daniel shifted, casually moving a newspaper over the stack. Time for bed, Lily. 5 more minutes? Now. While Daniel took Lily to her room, Rebecca stood alone in the kitchen. The apartment was clean but tired. Paint peeled near the window. The refrigerator hummed unevenly. A water stain on the ceiling had been painted over but showed through. Her phone buzzed. A text from her mother. Claudia called. We need to talk about Daniel. Breakfast tomorrow? Then another. She says he can't even keep the lights on. Is this true? Rebecca deleted both messages. Across town, Claudia sat in her marble kitchen, phone pressed to her ear. I'm only thinking of Rebecca, she said to Rebecca's mother. She's throwing away her future for what? A janitor who can't pay his bills? But Rebecca seems happy. Happy doesn't pay for children's education. Happy doesn't provide health insurance. Did you know he's been evicted before? What happens when Rebecca's income has to support all 3 of them? Silence on the other end. She could have anyone, Claudia continued. Remember Thomas Whitfield? He's still single, owns 3 companies now. He asked about her at the club last week. Rebecca chose Daniel. Rebecca chose a fantasy. She sees herself as some sort of savior, lifting him up. But poverty isn't romantic. It's grinding. It breaks people. It'll break her too. What do you suggest we do? Talk sense into her, before she throws away every opportunity she's worked for, before she becomes just another cautionary tale. Daniel knelt beside Lily's bed, her small hand in his. Now I lay me down to sleep, she whispered. I pray the Lord my soul to keep. If I should die before I wake, let's skip that part tonight. Lily opened one eye. You can't skip parts of prayers, Daddy. Sure you can. God knows what we mean. Okay, God bless Daddy and Rebecca and all the kids at school. Even Timothy, who put gum in my hair that one time. That's very forgiving of you. And God, please help Daddy not worry so much. His forehead gets all wrinkly when he thinks I'm not looking. Daniel smoothed her hair. Time for sleep. Is Rebecca going to be my mom? Would you like that? More than anything, then you wouldn't be sad anymore. I'm not sad, baby. You are. When you think I'm asleep, you sit at the table and put your head in your hands. But when Rebecca's here, you smile real smiles. Not the pretend ones you do for other people. Daniel's throat tightened. Sleep now. Daddy? Yes? We're going to be okay, right? We're going to be fine. Promise? Promise. But promises were fragile things when the electricity company didn't accept them as payment. In the dark of his own room, Daniel sat on the edge of his bed. The sheets were thin, worn soft from too many washes. Through the wall, he heard Lily's gentle breathing. Claudia's words circled like vultures. Pathetic. No real man. Dragging her down. The worst part was the kernel of truth they held. He couldn't provide what Rebecca deserved. Couldn't give her security, comfort, the life she'd grown up expecting. What was love against empty cupboards? What was devotion against overdue notices? He thought of his wife Sarah, how she'd gripped his hand in the hospital. Take care of her, she'd whispered. Promise me. But taking care meant more than love. It meant provision, stability. The things he failed at daily. His phone lit up with a text from Rebecca. Tonight was perfect. Thank you for letting me be part of your world. Perfect. She called soup and homework perfect. He walked to the window, looked out at the streetlight that flickered because the city didn't maintain things properly in this neighborhood. Somewhere across town, Claudia probably sat in her pristine house, planning new ways to destroy what little hope he had left. The ring on Rebecca's finger caught moonlight when she'd helped Lily with homework. $20, not even enough for a week's groceries. But she'd worn it like a crown jewel. Daniel pressed his forehead against the cool glass. God, make me enough. Make what I have enough. Make who I am enough. But heaven stayed silent, and the bills on the counter remained unpaid, and tomorrow would come whether he was ready or not. Daniel straightened his tie for the third time, standing before the beveled glass door of the Whitman residence. The house rose like a monument to success, white columns, manicured hedges, windows that gleamed without a single streak. It's so big, Daddy, Lily whispered, clutching her bouquet of wildflowers they'd picked from the park. Just be yourself, sweetheart. What if they don't like me? Impossible. The door opened before he could knock. Rebecca's mother stood there, pearls at her throat, smile carefully arranged. Daniel, Lily, please, come in. Lily thrust the wildflowers forward. These are for you, Mrs. Whitman. We picked the prettiest ones. Something softened in the woman's face. They're lovely, dear. Let's put them in water. The foyer stretched wider than Daniel's entire living room. A chandelier hung overhead, each crystal catching light like captured stars. Their footsteps echoed on marble floors. Rebecca's in the kitchen helping her father, Mrs. Whitman said. He insists on making his famous roast himself. The dining room held a table that could seat 12. China plates caught lamplight. Real silver gleamed beside each setting. Daniel helped Lily into her chair, whispering reminders about which fork to use. Rebecca emerged from the kitchen, flour dusting her cheek. You made it. Wouldn't miss it. Mr. Whitman followed, carrying a platter. Daniel, good to see you again. And this must be Lily. Hello, sir, Lily said, voice small but clear. No need for sir. Call me Richard. They settled into dinner, conversation flowing easier than Daniel expected. Richard asked about the school where Daniel worked, genuinely interested in the challenges of maintaining old buildings. Lily charmed them with stories about her teacher, her friends, the cat that lived behind their apartment. Then the doorbell rang. Who could that be? Mrs. Whitman frowned. Claudia swept in without waiting for an answer, designer heels clicking against marble. Patricia, darling, I was in the neighborhood. I couldn't resist stopping by when I saw the cars. Rebecca's jaw tightened. Claudia, don't mind me. I'll just pull up a chair. She positioned herself directly across from Daniel, smile sharp as winter. What a cozy gathering. Daniel, those are interesting cufflinks. Vintage? They were my father's. How sentimental. Some people treasure the oldest things. The temperature dropped 10 degrees. Richard cleared his throat. Claudia, would you like some roast? Just wine. Thanks. I'm watching my figure. Unlike some people, I can afford to be selective about what I consume. Daniel cut Lily's meat into smaller pieces, keeping his hand steady. So, Daniel, Claudia continued, swirling her wine, Rebecca mentioned you live on Maple Street. Isn't that where they had all those evictions last year? Claudia, Rebecca's voice carried warning, I'm just making conversation. It must have been frightening, all those families losing their homes. Were you affected? Daniel set down his fork. We managed. Barely from what I heard. Didn't you receive an eviction notice yourself? Something about 3 months behind on rent? Lily looked up confused. What's eviction mean? Nothing you need to worry about, Daniel said quietly. It means when people can't pay for their home, Claudia explained, voice syrup sweet. When they're irresponsible with money. That's enough. Rebecca stood. I'm simply concerned. A man who can't keep a roof over his child's head. A man who lost his wife to cancer. Rebecca shot back. Who spent every penny on medical bills trying to save her. Who worked 3 jobs while caring for a grieving child. How noble, but facts are facts. He's a janitor, Rebecca. Mopping floors while you have a master's degree. Honest work, menial work. What happens when Lily needs college, braces? When the car breaks down again? Patricia and Richard exchanged glances across the table. Daddy's the best, Lily said suddenly. He gives me everything. Everything? Claudia leaned forward. Is that why you told my friend's daughter that sometimes Daddy doesn't eat dinner? The room went still. Lily, honey, Daniel started. It's okay, Daddy. You said it's not lying if I just don't mention it. You always say you're not hungry, but I know it's so I can have more. Patricia's hand went to her mouth. Children say the most revealing things, Claudia purred. A father who can't feed himself and his child? That's not sacrifice, Daniel. That's failure. What else is Lily going without? Medical care? Proper nutrition? How dare you? Rebecca's voice shook. I dare because someone needs to say it. You're so blinded by this fantasy of noble poverty. But poverty isn't noble. It's dangerous. It's selfish to pursue a relationship when you can't provide basic necessities. Daniel stood slowly. Lily, get your coat. But Daddy, now, sweetheart. Richard rose. Daniel, please. Don't leave. Thank you for dinner. Daniel helped Lily with her jacket, hands trembling slightly. It was delicious. Daniel, Rebecca reached for him. I'll call you tomorrow. They walked to the door in silence. Behind them, Claudia's voice carried, You see, he can't even handle truth. In the car, Lily buckled herself in. Did I say something wrong? No, baby. You never say anything wrong. That lady was mean. Sometimes people are. Why? Daniel started the engine, watching the big house shrink in the rearview mirror. I don't know. But he did know. Claudia smelled weakness like blood in water. And she wasn't wrong about everything. A man should provide, should protect, should be enough. The streetlights blurred past. Lily hummed softly, already forgetting the tension. But Daniel couldn't forget. Wouldn't forget. Tomorrow, he'd prove Claudia wrong, prove himself worthy, not for Rebecca's parents or society's judgment, for Lily, for Rebecca, for himself. The fight had truly begun. Daniel woke before dawn, the weight of last night pressing against his chest. The clock read 5:47. Through thin walls, he heard Lily's soft breathing. He shuffled to the kitchen, started the coffee maker, a garage sale find that wheezed but worked. His phone buzzed. Daniel? Rebecca's voice, warm despite the early hour. I couldn't sleep. Rebecca, about last night, stop. Just stop. I love you. Nothing Claudia said changes that. The coffee maker gurgled. Daniel gripped the counter. Your parents will come around. Listen, I have an idea. The food pantry needs volunteers today. Bring Lily after school. We'll work together, do something good. Rebecca, please, it'll help. All of us. He closed his eyes. Okay. I love you. Love you too. The call ended. Daniel poured coffee into his chipped mug, the one Lily painted in kindergarten. Through the window, sunrise painted the sky pink and gold. Daddy? Lily patted in, dragging her stuffed rabbit. Is today better? Yeah, baby. Today's better. He braided her hair while she ate cereal, humming the song her mother used to sing. Her uniform was clean, pressed the night before. Small victories. We're helping at the food pantry after school, he said. With Miss Rebecca? With Miss Rebecca. Lily bounced in her seat. Can I help give out food? You can help however they need us. At school drop-off, other parents avoided eye contact. News traveled fast in small towns. Daniel kept his head high, walked Lily to her classroom. Love you, Daddy. Love you more. The day crawled. Daniel mopped hallways, emptied trash, fixed a broken desk in the third-grade room. Teachers smiled, said thank you. He wondered if they knew, if they judged. 3 o'clock finally came. Lily burst from her classroom, backpack bouncing. Food pantry time! They drove across town, past the big houses, past Claudia's neighborhood to the church on Oak Street. The parking lot bustled with volunteers unloading trucks. Rebecca waved from the entrance, apron already on. You made it! Lily ran to her, grabbed her hand. What do we do first? First, we get you both aprons. Inside, the pantry hummed with purpose. Elderly volunteers sorted canned goods. Teenagers stacked boxes. The pastor, gray-haired and kind-eyed, shook Daniel's hand. Good to see you, Daniel. We need strong backs today. Happy to help, Pastor Williams. They worked the stockroom first. Daniel lifted heavy boxes while Lily and Rebecca organized shelves. Lily read labels slowly, proud when she got them right. Green beans go here? Perfect, Rebecca said. An hour in, they switched to the serving line. Families filed through, some embarrassed, some grateful, all hungry. Daniel recognized faces: the mechanic who'd lost his shop, the waitress from the diner, Mrs. Chen from 2 streets over. Daniel? Mrs. Chen looked surprised. You volunteer here? Just helping out. She squeezed his hand. You're a good man, after what you did for my grandson. Rebecca looked curious. Daniel shook his head slightly. Not now. Lily handed out juice boxes to kids, making them giggle with silly faces. Rebecca ladled soup, chatting with everyone. Daniel carried boxes for elderly folks to their cars. That's 30 pounds of groceries, he told Mr. Rodriguez. Let me get that. Bless you, son. The afternoon flew. Lily helped a little boy find crackers he could eat with his braces. Rebecca taught teenagers to sort produce. Daniel fixed a broken shelf without being asked. Pastor Williams watched from the doorway. That man never seeks credit, he told his wife. Remember when he fixed our furnace last winter? Wouldn't take a penny. Or when he gave his coat to the Morrison boy? Never mentions it, just serves. At the soup line, a woman with 3 kids looked ready to cry. Is there any milk left? My youngest, we're out up here, a volunteer said. Daniel disappeared into the back, returned with a gallon from the emergency supply. Found one. The woman's eyes filled. Thank you. Thank him, the volunteer said. He bought that with his own money last week. Didn't think anyone knew. Rebecca stared. Daniel flushed, looked away. Why didn't you tell me? She whispered. Wasn't important. Everything about you is important. 7 o'clock came too soon. They cleaned up, Lily yawning against Rebecca's shoulder. You did amazing today, Rebecca told her. We helped lots of people. You did. Outside, stars emerged in the darkening sky. The parking lot emptied slowly. "Thank you for coming," Rebecca said. "Thank you for asking us." She touched his face. "This is who you are, not what Claudia says. This." "Rebecca, I don't care about gossip. I don't care about money. I care about building something real with you." Lily tugged Daniel's sleeve. "Can we come back next week?" "If they'll have us." Pastor Williams appeared. "Every week, if you like. Your family here." Daniel's throat tightened. Family. The word meant everything. They walked to their cars together. Rebecca kissed him softly. Lily pretended not to watch. "I'll call you tonight," Rebecca promised. "Okay." Driving home, Lily chattered about the people they'd met, the kids she'd helped. Daniel listened, heart lighter than it had been in days. Tomorrow would bring new challenges. Claudia would scheme. People would whisper. But tonight, he had this. Purpose, love, hope. It was enough. It was everything. Claudia's manicured fingers clicked through online records at her mahogany desk. Public databases, court documents, hospital liens, everything left a paper trail if you knew where to look. Her laptop screen glowed in the dark study. "There," she muttered, finding what she wanted. "Perfect. Margaret Davis, Daniel's late wife, died 3 years ago. Cancer." The medical bills stretched across multiple pages: chemotherapy, radiation, experimental treatments, all unpaid, all crushing. She printed everything. The foreclosure notice on their apartment, the bankruptcy filing, the wage garnishment from the hospital. Each page felt like ammunition. Her phone buzzed. Veronica calling. "Find anything useful?" her friend asked. "More than enough. Did you know he lost their home while his wife was dying? Couldn't even keep a roof over a sick woman's head. How awful." "Exactly. Rebecca needs to know what she's getting into." Across town, Daniel hunched over the kitchen table with Lily, hot glue gun in hand. Her solar system project sprawled across newspaper, styrofoam balls, paint, wire hangers. "Jupiter needs more red," Lily said, tongue between her teeth as she concentrated. "Like this?" Daniel swirled the brush. "Perfect, Mrs. Peterson says the winner gets a ribbon and their picture in the hallway. You'll win for sure. Tommy's dad hired someone to make his." Daniel's hand stilled. Of course he did. Tommy's father owned 3 car dealerships. "Well, ours has something better." "What?" "Love. Every planet, every star, we made it together." Lily beamed. They worked past midnight, Daniel's eyes burning with exhaustion. Tomorrow meant a 5 a.m. shift. But Lily's joy mattered more than sleep. "Saturn's rings look real," she squealed. "Let's add glitter. Glitter makes everything better." By 2 a.m. the solar system hung perfectly balanced, planets spinning on their wires. Lily had fallen asleep at the table. Daniel carried her to bed, kissed her forehead, then returned to clean up. His back ached, his hands cramped. Worth it. The next morning arrived too soon. Daniel delivered Lily and her project to school, helped her carry it carefully to class. "It's beautiful," Mrs. Peterson said. "You both worked hard." "My daddy's the best," Lily announced. Daniel left quickly, not wanting to linger where he didn't belong. He had floors to mop. Meanwhile, Rebecca arrived at school to substitute teach. In the parking lot, mothers clustered near expensive SUVs. She recognized Claudia's friends, absolutely drowning in debt. Wife's medical bills bankrupted them, can't even provide basics. Rebecca's stomach turned. She knew that tone, that casual cruelty, disguised as concern. "Poor Rebecca," Veronica said loudly, noticing her approach. "She has no idea what she's getting into." "What's that supposed to mean?" Rebecca asked. The women exchanged glances. Veronica pulled out her phone, showed Rebecca a photo of legal documents. "Claudia found these, public records. Daniel owes over $200,000 in medical debt. Lost his home. Had wages garnished. He's a walking disaster. His wife was dying, Rebecca said quietly. Still, is that the father you want for your children? Someone who can't handle basic finances? He was trying to save her life. And failed. At everything. Rebecca's hands shook. You don't know him. We know enough. He's a janitor, dating above his station. Claudia's just trying to protect you. From what? From love? They laughed. Actually laughed. From poverty, dear, from struggle, from embarrassment. Rebecca walked away, their whispers following. Inside the school, she saw Daniel in the hallway, fixing a water fountain. He looked up, smiled. She smiled back, but something cold had settled in her chest. All day she caught fragments of gossip, teachers whispering, parents pointing. Even the principal mentioned hearing concerns about her relationship. Just want you to be careful, he said. Reputation matters in our profession. That evening, Rebecca sat alone in her apartment. The small ring caught lamplight, modest stone, barely visible. She turned it, remembering Daniel shaking hands when he proposed, Lily's joy, the warmth of their makeshift family. Her phone rang. Mother, Claudia called. She's worried about you. Claudia should mind her own business. She showed me documents, Rebecca. This man owes more than he'll earn in 10 years. For his wife's cancer treatment. Admirable, but foolish. You can't build a life on debt and good intentions. Mom, your father and I worked hard to give you opportunities. Don't throw them away for love? For struggle. Constant, grinding struggle. Is that what you want? Rebecca hung up. The ring felt heavier now. Not with love, but with questions. Her phone buzzed. A text from Daniel. Lily won first place. She wants to celebrate with ice cream tomorrow. Join us? She stared at the message. Pictured his tired eyes, his gentle hands, the way he looked at her like she hung the moon. Then pictured the bills, the whispers, the weight of constant judgment. Another text. She specifically requested strawberry. Says it's your favorite. Rebecca's eyes burned. She typed, Congratulations to Lily. I'll try to make it. Delete. Too cold. Wouldn't miss it. Delete. Too false. Tell her I'm proud of her. Send. She pulled off the ring, set it on her nightstand. Not removing it, just resting. Her finger felt naked, wrong. Outside, rain began falling. Rebecca watched it streak her window, blurring the lights beyond. Somewhere across town, Daniel was probably tucking Lily in, celebrating her victory, never knowing how his past had become weapons in hands that meant to wound. The ring sat there, small and plain and precious. She reached for it. The invitation came on cream-colored paper, embossed with gold lettering. Daniel turned it over in his calloused hands, while Lily practiced reading over his shoulder. Fun razor, she sounded out. What's that mean, Daddy? It means helping kids who need it. Rebecca had called earlier, insisting they come. Please, Daniel, I want you there with me. Now, standing in his tiny bedroom, he stared at his reflection. The same tired suit hung on him like an apology. His good shoes had separated at the sole. He'd fixed them with superglue that morning. You look handsome, Lily said from the doorway, wearing her church dress. You sure? Like a prince? A tired prince, but still. The Riverside Country Club towered before them, all white columns and perfect lawns. Valets in crisp uniforms took keys from luxury cars. Daniel parked his dented sedan himself, 3 blocks away. Why are we walking so far? Lily asked. Fresh air's good for us. Inside, crystal chandeliers cast rainbow light across marble floors. Women wore cocktail dresses that cost more than Daniel made in months. Men discussed stock portfolios between sips of champagne. Rebecca found them immediately, radiant in simple blue. You came. Wouldn't miss it, Daniel said, though his voice caught. She knelt to Lily's level. You look beautiful, sweetheart. Daddy fixed my dress hem with staples. Rebecca's eyes softened. She took Daniel's arm, leading them deeper into the crowd. He felt stares, heard whispers. His shoes clicked unevenly, the glue hadn't held perfectly. "Ladies and gentlemen," the organizer announced, "tonight we're raising funds for the county's childhood nutrition program. Every dollar helps feed hungry kids." Daniel's hand found his jacket pocket. Inside, an envelope held $800, his emergency fund, saved penny by penny over 2 years. Money for car repairs, medical emergencies, anything unexpected. His safety net. He thought of hungry kids, of nights he'd gone without so Lily could eat, of understanding that hollow ache. The donation box sat near the auction tables, decorated with ribbons and photos of smiling children. While Rebecca helped Lily get punch, Daniel walked over casually, pretended to read the display. His hand trembled slightly. This money represented security, the buffer between managing and drowning. But those faces in the photos. He slipped the envelope in quickly, unmarked and anonymous. "Making a donation?" Claudia's voice made him jump. "Just looking," she smirked. "Of course. Looking's free." He walked away, stomach tight, found Rebecca and Lily near the dessert table. "Try the chocolate fountain," a kind older woman suggested to Lily. "It's magical." While Lily marveled at flowing chocolate, Rebecca squeezed Daniel's hand. "Thank you for coming. I know it's not easy. You're worth it." The auction began. Vacation packages, jewelry, art pieces, all beyond Daniel's imagination. He stood quietly, arm around Rebecca, while Lily sat on his shoulders for a better view. "Now," the organizer said, voice trembling with emotion, "before we close, I must share something extraordinary. We've received an anonymous cash donation of $800. Gasps rippled through the room. "This represents more than some families here spend on lunch. Yet someone gave it quietly, without recognition. This is the spirit of true charity." Applause thundered. Daniel stared at his shoes, face burning. Rebecca grabbed his arm. Her eyes searched his face, understanding dawning. "Daniel, was that?" He couldn't speak. "Oh my God." Tears spilled down her cheeks. "That was everything you had." "Kids need to eat." She threw her arms around him, there in front of everyone. "I'm so proud of you. So incredibly proud." The embrace drew attention. People turned, whispering. Rebecca didn't care. "This man," she announced, voice carrying, "this beautiful, generous man just gave every penny of his savings to feed hungry children." "Rebecca," Daniel whispered, mortified. "No. They should know. You work 2 jobs, raise your daughter alone, and still found a way to give everything." Rebecca's parents pushed through the crowd. Her mother's face had softened, mascara slightly smudged. "Daniel," her father said quietly, "is this true?" "Kids shouldn't be hungry, sir." The older man's throat worked. He extended his hand. "You're a better man than I gave you credit for." Others pressed closer. Not to judge, but to see. An elderly woman touched Daniel's shoulder. "My husband was a janitor," she said softly. "Best man I ever knew. Never had much, gave everything." "Thank you," Daniel managed. Lily tugged his ear. "Daddy, why is everyone looking at us?" "Because your father's a hero," Rebecca said, lifting her down. "I already knew that." The crowd laughed, tension breaking. Several people approached Daniel, shaking hands, offering genuine smiles. For once, his worn suit didn't matter. His scuffed shoes were invisible. Claudia stood apart, arms crossed, face pinched with fury. The organizer approached with tears in her eyes. "Sir, would you say a few words?" "No, ma'am. Anonymous means anonymous." "Then let me say this, you've inspired everyone here tonight." As the event wound down, Daniel walked Rebecca and Lily to the parking lot. His emergency fund was gone, but something had shifted. The weight on his shoulders felt lighter. "You gave everything," Rebecca said again, wonder in her voice. "Not everything. Still got you too." She kissed him then, deeply, while Lily pretended to be disgusted. "Daddy's got a girlfriend," she sang. Daniel loaded Lily into his old sedan. her eyelids already drooping from the late hour. Rebecca had gone inside to gather her parents' coats. The parking lot had mostly emptied, leaving pools of yellow lamplight on wet asphalt. Daniel. Claudia emerged from behind a marble column, her heels clicking sharply. She'd waited. Planned this. Claudia. He closed Lily's door gently, not wanting to wake her. Quite the performance tonight. Her lips curved, but her eyes stayed cold. The generous hero, giving away his last dollar, wasn't a performance. No? She stepped closer, perfume thick and expensive. $800. That's what, 3 months of saving? 4? All thrown away in some pathetic attempt at buying dignity? His jaw tightened. Those kids need. You know what you need? Reality. She pulled out her phone, swiping to photos. Amazing what public records show. Eviction notice. January last year. Final notice for electricity. March. Medical bills and collections. Each word landed like a slap. Should I continue? Daniel's chest constricted. Those papers represented his darkest moments, choosing between rent and Lily's medicine, between heat and food. How did you? I have friends at the courthouse, the hospital billing department. Amazing what people share over lunch. She tilted her head. Rebecca's parents will be fascinated. Their precious daughter marrying a man who can't keep a roof over his child's head. That was last year, after Sarah died. The bills, excuses, she waved dismissively. You're drowning, Daniel. Have been for years. And now you've given away your safety net for what? Applause? A pat on the head? The fundraiser's warmth evaporated. He stood there, coat thin against the wind, seeing himself through her eyes. A failure. A charity case playing dress-up. Daniel? Rebecca's voice carried across the lot. Everything okay? Claudia's demeanor shifted instantly, her face melting into false concern. Just offering some financial advice. You know me, always trying to help. Rebecca approached, eyes narrowing. Something in the air felt wrong. Financial advice? Well, after that generous donation, I thought Daniel might need some guidance. Budgeting tips, investment strategies. Claudia's smile could have cut glass. We should all look out for each other. That's thoughtful. Rebecca's tone suggested otherwise. Anyway, must run. Charles is waiting. Claudia air-kissed Rebecca's cheek. We'll talk soon, darling. So much to discuss. She left, heels echoing like countdown. Rebecca turned to Daniel. What did she really want? Nothing important. Daniel. Just Claudia being Claudia. He forced lightness into his voice. Should get Lily home. School tomorrow. Rebecca searched his face. He looked away, unable to meet her eyes. The shame sat heavy in his throat. Okay. She kissed his cheek softly. Call me when you get home. Sure. The drive home stretched forever. Lily mumbled in her sleep, something about chocolate fountains and princesses. Daniel's hands gripped the wheel until his knuckles ached. The eviction notice. Claudia had documentation of his worst moment, when grief had paralyzed him, when he couldn't work, couldn't think, could barely breathe. When he'd sat in that courthouse hallway, Lily on his lap, begging for one more month, their apartment felt smaller tonight. He carried Lily to bed, still in her party dress. She stirred, clutching her school prize, a blue ribbon for her science project. Daddy? Yeah, baby. Tonight was the best night. Her eyes stayed closed. Everyone saw how good you are. His throat closed. Sleep now. Love you, Daddy. Love you too. He sat on her bed's edge watching her breathe. 8 years old, and already she'd known loss, poverty, uncertainty. Yet she smiled, trusted him, believed he could fix anything. But he couldn't fix this. In his own bed, a mattress on the floor, he stared at the ceiling. Water stains mapped territories of old leaks. The radiator clanged, fighting winter. Every dollar tonight represented weeks of skipped lunches, walked miles instead of gas, clothes mended past saving. Gone now. And for what? Claudia was right. He'd bought momentary approval, traded security for pride. Monday, the electric company expected payment. Tuesday, Lily needed new shoes. Hers had holes she hid with careful walking. Friday, rent. He'd managed before, always found a way. Extra shifts, odd jobs, pawning Sarah's jewelry piece by piece. But now, Claudia held ammunition. She'd show Rebecca's parents those documents. Paint him as irresponsible, reckless, a burden waiting to happen. They'd demand Rebecca leave him. She'd resist at first, but doubt would creep in. Every struggled bill, every patched coat, every tired evening would remind her of Claudia's words. Eventually, love would bend under that weight. In the darkness, he clasped his hands. The calluses felt rough against each other. "Lord," he whispered, "I'm lost. Don't know how to fight this. Don't have weapons like hers. Just trying to raise my girl right, love a good woman, be enough." His voice cracked, "But I'm not enough. Never have been." Sarah knew it, even if she never said. And now, Lily coughed in her sleep. He listened until she settled. "Just give me strength. Not asking for money or miracles, just strength to face tomorrow. To look Rebecca in the eye, knowing what's coming. To keep Lily believing in good things." The prayer felt small in the vast darkness. 3 days after the fundraiser, Rebecca's car pulled up outside Daniel's apartment building. Lily pressed her nose against the window, watching for her. "She's here! She's here!" Daniel smoothed down Lily's hair, still damp from her bath. "Remember what we talked about? If Rebecca offers to buy you things, I say thank you, but I don't need it." Lily recited dutifully, then whispered, "But what if it's cotton candy?" Before he could answer, Rebecca knocked. She wore jeans and an old college sweatshirt, her hair pulled back in a ponytail. The casual look made her seem younger, lighter. "Ready for an adventure?" She held up 3 tickets. "The Millbrook Fair, my treat, and before you argue, I won these in the school raffle." Daniel recognized the lie in her gentle smile but let it stand. Pride had its limits when Lily bounced on her toes, eyes bright with excitement. The drive took an hour through farm country. Lily chatted nonstop from the back seat, pointing out cows, horses, a barn painted like an American flag. Rebecca played along, asking questions, making up stories about the animals they passed. The fairground sprawled across a meadow, carnival lights blinking even in daylight. The smell hit them first: popcorn, funnel cakes, livestock, and that particular scent of trampled grass and excitement. "The Ferris wheel!" Lily grabbed both their hands. "Can we? Please?" They joined the line, Lily between them, swinging their arms. Other families surrounded them, parents with strollers, teenagers on first dates, grandparents with sticky-faced toddlers, normal people doing normal things. In the swaying car, Lily sat between them, pointing out everything below. "There's a purple tent. And look, ponies. Dad, are those real cowboys?" "Probably farmers, baby." "Still counts." At the top, the wheel paused. The whole county spread beneath them, patches of farms, the distant highway, their own town's water tower catching sunlight. "It's perfect," Rebecca said softly. Daniel looked at her over Lily's head. Wind played with loose strands of her hair. No diamonds, no elegant clothes, just Rebecca smiling at the view. His chest tightened with something between joy and fear. They tried everything. The ring toss where Daniel failed spectacularly. The duck pond where Rebecca won Lily a stuffed elephant half her size. The haunted house that turned out to be sheets and Christmas lights, making them laugh more than scream. At the cotton candy stand, pink sugar wrapped around a paper cone like edible clouds. "3, please," Rebecca told the vendor. "I can." Daniel reached for his wallet. "My raffle, my rules." She handed him a cone, winking. They found a bench near the music stage where a local band played covers of old country songs. Lily sat between them, face sticky with pink sugar, elephant clutched tight. "This is better than Christmas," she announced. "Christmas hasn't happened yet," Daniel reminded her. "Still better." A couple walked past with their children, the woman pregnant with another. The man carried a diaper bag, patient as his toddler stopped to examine every piece of gravel. Rebecca watched them with an expression Daniel couldn't read. "Want to see the animals?" she asked suddenly. The livestock barn smelled exactly as expected. Lily fell in love with every creature, the sheep, the rabbits, especially a calf with long eyelashes who licked her hand. "He likes me." "Everyone likes you," Rebecca said, then caught Daniel's eye. "Must run in the family." Late afternoon sun slanted through the barn doors. Dust motes danced in the golden light. Lily had found a litter of barn kittens, sitting cross-legged while they climbed over her lap. Rebecca stood close to Daniel, shoulders touching. "She's amazing. Gets that from her mother. The kindness is all you." She slipped her hand into his. "The way she shares, how she notices when people are sad, that's learned behavior. She watches you." His throat felt thick. "I worry I'm not teaching her enough." "About having things. Security. You're teaching her what matters." They watched Lily giggle as a kitten attacked her shoelace. "Come sit," Lily called. "There's room." They joined her on the hay-strewn floor. Designer jeans be damned. Lily immediately placed a kitten in Rebecca's lap, then another in Daniel's. "Now we all have babies," she declared. The words hung there. Rebecca's hand found Daniel's again. "Lily," she said carefully, "would you like it if we were together more? The three of us? Like a real family?" "Like a real family." Lily looked between them, suddenly serious beyond her years. Then she took Rebecca's free hand and placed it on top of their joined ones. "We already are," she said simply. "We just need to make it official." The barn felt cathedral quiet, despite the animal sounds. As sunset approached, they climbed the hill behind the fairgrounds. Other families had the same idea, spreading blankets, waiting for darkness and fireworks. They sat on Daniel's jacket, Lily sprawled across both their laps, exhausted from joy. The elephant, now named Mr. Peanuts, served as her pillow. Orange and pink streaked the sky. The fair lights below began to matter more as darkness crept in. "Daniel," Rebecca said quietly, "today was perfect. You made it perfect. The tickets, the food, the 0, too." "No." She turned to face him. "You and Lily made it perfect. Just being here, being us." Lily had dozed off, breath even against his knee. "I dream about this sometimes," he admitted. "Having a real family again. Not just surviving, but living." Saturday mornings making pancakes, helping with homework at the kitchen table, teaching Lily to ride a bike in some little yard somewhere. He stopped, embarrassed. "Stupid dreams. Tell me more. A small house, nothing fancy. Maybe it needs work, I'm good with my hands. Garden out back where Lily can play, somewhere she can have friends over without." He gestured vaguely at nothing, meaning everything. "And you there, making it home. Daniel, I know it's not much of a dream, not what you deserve. It's exactly what I want." Her voice was fierce. "A life, a real life. Not parties and appearances in Claudia's world. This." She gestured at Lily sleeping, at the families around them, at the simple fare below. "This is what's real." The first firework burst overhead, white chrysanthemum against deep blue. Lily stirred but didn't wake. "I love you," Daniel said. The words felt enormous. "I love you too, both of you." Another burst, red this time. Then gold. Families oohed around them. "We'll make it work," Rebecca said. "Whatever Claudia does, whatever anyone says, we'll build that life." Under exploding lights, holding his daughter and the woman he loved, Daniel almost believed it. The morning after the fair, Rebecca's mother was arranging roses when the doorbell rang. Through the window she saw Claudia's Mercedes, sleek as a blade. "Margaret, darling." Claudia swept in, designer handbag swinging. "We need to talk about Rebecca." "Coffee? This won't take long." Claudia settled on the sofa, smoothing her skirt. "I have something you need to see." She produced a manila folder, laying documents across the coffee table like tarot cards predicting disaster. Eviction notice. Final warnings. past due stamps angry and red. Margaret's hand went to her throat. "Where did you get these?" "That hardly matters. What matters is that your daughter is about to tie herself to this." She tapped a manicured nail on an overdue medical bill. He donated $500 at the fundraiser. 500 he couldn't afford. Perhaps he got behind on rent to play hero, let bills pile up while playing generous. Claudia leaned forward. "Margaret, the man can't provide basic stability for his own child. What happens when Rebecca wants children? A home? When life gets harder, not easier?" Rebecca's father appeared in the doorway, drawn by voices. He picked up the eviction notice, jaw tightening. "This is from 8 months ago. And there'll be another soon enough." Claudia gathered the papers, leaving them stacked on the table. "I'm only trying to protect Rebecca. She's too good-hearted to see what's right in front of her." After Claudia left, Margaret and her husband sat among the evidence. The roses on the table seemed to mock them, all beauty and no substance. "We have to tell her," he said. "She won't listen. She has to." That evening, Rebecca arrived for dinner to find her parents waiting in the living room, faces grave as a diagnosis. "Sweetheart, sit down." The papers were spread across the coffee table. Rebecca recognized Claudia's handiwork immediately. She had no right. "Look at them," her father said. "Please." Rebecca looked. Each document told a story of struggle, of choosing between bad and worse. "He's a good man drowning," her mother said gently. "And good men drowning still pull others down. You don't know him. We know poverty." Her father's voice was sharp. "We climbed out of it, remember? Before you were born, we lived it, choosing between heat and food, praying the car would start one more time." He picked up the eviction notice. "It breaks you, Rebecca. Piece by piece. Daniel isn't broken. Not yet. But what about in 5 years? 10? When Lily needs college, and you want children, and the bills never stop?" Her mother reached for her hand. "Love isn't always enough. It was for you two. We didn't have a child already. We didn't start buried in debt." The doorbell rang. Through the window, Rebecca saw Daniel's truck, Lily's face pressed to the glass. "That's him," she said. Rebecca, but she was already at the door. Daniel stood on the porch, work clothes clean but worn. "Ready?" Lily's excited about movie night. Behind her, papers rustled. Her father's voice carried, "Can't even pay rent." Daniel's face changed. He looked past Rebecca to the living room, saw the documents, her parents' expressions. "I should go." "Daniel, wait." "Daddy?" Lily called from the truck. "Is Rebecca coming?" He walked backward, maintaining a smile for his daughter. "Not tonight, baby." Rebecca followed him to the truck. "Daniel, please. Let me explain." "Nothing to explain." He wouldn't meet her eyes. "They're right. Your parents, Claudia, all of it." "That's not true. I donated that money knowing rent was due. What kind of father does that?" "A generous one. A good one. A foolish one." He opened the truck door. We'll talk later." Lily was crying before they reached the corner. Why didn't Rebecca come? She promised movie night. Something came up. What kind of something? Daniel searched for words that wouldn't hurt. Adult something. Is it because we're poor? The question hit like cold water. What makes you say that? Kids at school say it. That fancy lady says it. Lily wiped her nose on her sleeve. Is Rebecca too good for us? No, baby, no. But the words felt hollow. Sometimes loving someone means knowing when to step aside. What does that mean? It means letting them be happy, even if it's not with us. But Rebecca is happy with us. She said, we're a family. Daniel pulled into their driveway, turned off the engine, sat in the darkness listening to his daughter sniffle. Lily, if Rebecca could have a better life, our life is better. With her in it. She was sobbing now, 8 years old and heartbroken. Don't let her go, Daddy. Please don't let her go. He carried her inside, tucked her into bed, still crying, sat stroking her hair until exhaustion won. In the kitchen, silence pressed down. The wallet lay empty on the counter, leather worn soft from years of handling. $500? Rent money? Food money? Everything money. But that morning at the fundraiser, writing the check, he'd felt rich. Worthy. Like someone who could give instead of always taking. Claudia's words echoed, pathetic attempt at buying dignity. She was right. The kitchen table held Lily's school papers, a drawing of 3 stick figures labeled My Family, him, Lily, and Rebecca, all holding hands under a rainbow. Below that, bills marked final notice. He'd been selfish, playing at fairy tales while reality crumbled. Rebecca deserved someone who could give her more than good intentions and empty pockets. The chair creaked as he sat, head in his hands. Through thin walls, he heard Mrs. Chen's television next door, the Hendersons arguing above. This was his world: scraped knees and second-hand clothes and choosing which bill to pay. Rebecca's world had roses on tables and choices that weren't desperate. He picked up his phone, started 5 different texts to Rebecca, deleted them all. In the morning, he'd find the words, find a way to set her free without breaking what was left of his daughter's heart or his own. The empty wallet stared back at him, accusation and evidence combined. Love meant sacrifice. Sometimes that sacrifice was letting go. 3 days passed in silence. Daniel's phone buzzed with Rebecca's calls while he mopped the school hallway. He watched her name flash on the screen until it went dark. 17 missed calls, 23 texts. "Mr. Daniel?" a small voice interrupted. Tommy Martinez stood holding a broken backpack strap. "Can you fix it?" "Mom can't buy a new one till next month." "Course I can." Daniel pulled thread and needle from his supply cart. "Hold it steady." The boy watched Daniel's careful stitches. "You're good at fixing things. Practice." "My dad says you got a pretty girlfriend, the teacher one." Daniel's hand paused. "Better get to class, Tommy." After the boy left, Daniel returned to mopping. The repetitive motion helped quiet his mind. Back and forth. Simple. Clean. No complications. His phone buzzed again. This time he answered without checking. Finally, Rebecca's voice cracked. "Daniel, what's happening?" "Been busy. School's got me doing extra shifts." "That's not true. I checked with Principal Morris." Silence stretched between them. "Please, just talk to me." "Nothing to talk about. Daniel, I have to go. Cafeteria needs cleaning." He hung up. Stood in the empty hallway, hating himself for the hurt in her voice. At home that evening, Lily sat at the kitchen table, homework forgotten. "You're sad again." "Just tired." "Baby." "No. Sad tired is different from work tired." She studied him with those eyes that missed nothing. "Is it because we're poor?" The question stopped him cold. "Why would you ask that?" "Susie's mom said poor people can't marry rich people. Said it's like trying to mix oil and water." Daniel knelt beside her chair. "Being poor doesn't make us less than anyone. But you're sad about Rebecca. I'm sad about lots of things. Is she not going to be our family anymore?" "Lily, because if it's about money, I can help. I can sell my toys. Or not eat lunch at school. Save the money for—" "No." The word came out sharper than intended. "No, baby. You never skip meals. Ever. But you did. For the ring. That was different." "How?" He struggled for words. How to explain adult choices to 8-year-old logic? Sometimes grown-ups make hard decisions, but you just focus on being a kid. Kids can help too. She touched his face. "We have love and faith, right? You always say that's enough." "It is enough." "Then why are you letting Rebecca go?" He had no answer that wouldn't break her heart. After tucking Lily in, Daniel sat on the porch steps. The neighborhood sounds wrapped around him, dogs barking, televisions murmuring, life continuing despite his world tilting sideways. Mrs. Chen shuffled over in her slippers. "You look like someone died." "Just thinking." "About that pretty teacher?" Haven't seen her car lately. She's busy. Mrs. Chen lowered herself onto the step beside him. My husband was poor when we married. My parents said I was throwing my life away. What changed their minds? Nothing. They died thinking I'd made a mistake. She patted his knee. 52 years we had. Best mistake I ever made. After she left, Daniel remained on the steps. The night air carried the smell of someone's late dinner, garlic and onions. Normal life. Simple life. His phone screen showed another text from Rebecca. I'm not giving up on us. He deleted it, unread. The next morning, Rebecca stood outside the school's service entrance. Daniel saw her through the window and froze. She wore the blue dress he loved, the one she'd worn on their first date. The morning sun caught the tiny ring on her finger. He grabbed his supply cart, headed the opposite direction. Daniel! He kept walking. Her heels clicked on linoleum as she followed. Please stop. Got work to do. The floors can wait. Principal Morris gave me permission to be here. He turned into an empty classroom, began straightening desks. Rebecca closed the door behind them. Look at me. He couldn't. If he looked, he'd weaken. 3 days, Daniel. 3 days of silence. Been busy. Stop lying to me. I'm not. You heard them. My parents. You heard what they said. His hand stilled on a desk. They're right. They're scared. There's a difference. Scared of you ruining your life. My life was empty before you. He forced himself to keep working, aligning chairs with precision. You'll find someone better. I don't want better. I want you. Rebecca, that boy in the hall. Tommy, I saw you fix his backpack. No fuss, no judgment. Just kindness. It's just thread. It's everything. Her voice broke. It's who you are. It's why I love you. The words hung between them. He gripped the desk edge. I have to go. Bathroom in the east wing needs. I'll wait. Rebecca, I'll wait. Daniel. As long as it takes. She left him standing among the empty desks, her perfume lingering like a ghost. That afternoon, he found a note tucked into his supply cart. Love isn't measured in dollars. Faith isn't dependent on bank accounts. Remember what you taught Lily. Remember what you taught me. R. He folded it carefully, placed it in his wallet where money should be, where hope used to live. Rebecca sat at her kitchen table, surrounded by papers she'd gathered over 3 days. Bank statements, court documents, medical bills, the paper trail of Daniel's life spread before her like a map of heartbreak. The eviction notice Claudia had waved like a victory flag dated back 18 months. Rebecca traced the timeline backward. 3 months before the eviction, massive hospital bills. 2 months before that, funeral expenses. Sarah Matthews, beloved wife and mother, gone at 34. Pancreatic cancer, the death certificate read. Quick, brutal, expensive. Rebecca's hands trembled as she calculated. The medical debt alone topped $200,000. Insurance had covered barely half. Daniel had been making payments of $300 monthly, more than a third of his janitor's salary. A sticky note fell from between pages. Daniel's handwriting, Lily's lunch money, do not touch. The next document made her stomach clench. A loan application, denied. Purpose, daughter's asthma medication. Amount requested, $800. She found the prescription receipts instead, paid in installments. $60 here, $40 there. Always just before the pharmacy's final notice. Her phone buzzed. Claudia, found anything interesting in your little investigation? Rebecca didn't respond. Another text, he's drowning, Rebecca, you can't save him. She turned the phone face down, returned to the papers. A thank you card from the local food bank caught her eye. Dear Mr. Matthews, your monthly contributions have fed 12 families this year. Monthly contributions. Rebecca checked his pay stubs again. After rent, utilities, debt payments, and Lily's necessities, Daniel had maybe $50 left each month. He'd been giving $30 to the food bank. The morning sun had shifted to afternoon glare when she finally pushed back from the table. Her mother appeared in the doorway. "You've been at this all day. I needed to know." "And?" Rebecca gestured at the papers. Every single choice he made was for Lily. Every sacrifice, every late payment, every skipped meal. Claudia said. Claudia lied. The words came out sharp. Or twisted things so far from truth they might as well be lies. Her mother sat down, picked up the medical bills. Her face paled. "Dear God, this much?" "Sarah fought for 8 months. Daniel sold everything. Their car, his tools, her jewelry, everything except Rebecca touched her ring. Except her wedding band. He kept that for Lily." "Where is it?" "Pawn shop. The receipt's here. He visits it every month, pays the interest to keep them from selling it. Plans to get it back for Lily's 16th birthday." Her mother set down the papers, covered her mouth. "We didn't know." "No." "You listened to Claudia." "Rebecca, I need to see Pastor Coleman." She found the pastor at the food pantry, sorting canned goods with volunteers. His face brightened when he saw her. "Rebecca, here to help?" "Here to ask about Daniel Matthews." His expression softened. "Ah, wondered when you'd come." They sat in his small office, windows overlooking the donation area. Daniel started volunteering here right after Sarah passed. Showed up with Lily on his hip, asking how he could help. Wouldn't take any food for himself, mind you, just wanted to give back. But he needed help himself, desperately. "But Daniel..." Pastor Coleman shook his head. "Pride isn't the right word. Dignity, maybe. He couldn't bear the thought of taking when others had less." Others had less? He was skipping meals. "I know. Found out when Lily mentioned it during Sunday school. Tried to send food home with them. Daniel politely refused. Said they were managing fine." "So you started accidentally making too much for church dinners." The pastor smiled. "Amazing how often we miscalculated portions when the Matthews family attended. The monthly donations, $30, regular as clockwork. I tried returning it once. Told him families in need could use that money. Know what he said?" Rebecca waited. "Said teaching Lily to give even when it hurt was worth more than $30. Said faith without sacrifice was just words." She wiped her eyes. Claudia made it sound like neglect. Claudia sees what she wants to see. His voice hardened. "Daniel Matthews has given more to this community with his empty pockets than she has with all her wealth." "Tell me more." "Last winter, the Henderson boy needed shoes. Daniel brought a pair, claimed Lily had outgrown them. They were new, tags cleverly removed. The Hendersons never knew. How many others? Too many to count. Always anonymous, always humble. That man." Pastor Coleman looked out the window. "That man embodies everything I preach about but rarely see. Faith lived out in daily sacrifice." That evening, Rebecca sat with her journal, trying to capture the weight of what she'd learned. "I thought I loved him before," she wrote. "Loved his gentleness with Lily, his quiet strength, his humility. But now I see the full picture. Every irresponsible choice Claudia pointed to was actually profound responsibility. He chose his daughter's dignity over his credit score, chose others' hunger over his own, chose to carry impossible burdens rather than burden others." She paused, pen hovering. "He's not drowning. He's walking on water, and his faith keeps him afloat. The question isn't whether he's worthy of me. It's whether I'm brave enough to walk beside him." The ring caught the lamplight as she wrote. $20. The price of a meal Claudia wouldn't think twice about. But for Daniel, it represented months of hunger, careful planning, sacrifice upon sacrifice. She'd never owned anything more valuable. Her phone lit up with another text from Daniel. "Please stop looking into my past. Some things are better left buried." She typed back, "Some things need to be brought into the light." Then added, "I love you, not despite your struggles, because of how you've faced them." The typing indicator appeared, disappeared, appeared again. Finally, "You deserve better." She wrote one more line in her journal before closing it. He thinks he's not enough. Tomorrow, I'll show him he's everything. The crystal chandelier cast prismatic light across Claudia's dining room, where 20 guests gathered around a table that cost more than Daniel made in a year. Rebecca sat between her parents, watching Claudia hold court at the head. "I simply had to bring everyone together," Claudia announced, raising her wine glass. "After recent revelations." Rebecca's mother shifted uncomfortably. "Claudia, perhaps we shouldn't—" No. We must discuss it. Poor Rebecca needs our support." Claudia's smile glittered like broken glass. "Discovering your fiancé is drowning in debt, that he can barely feed his own child. Well, I'm just grateful I could expose these flaws before it was too late." The guests murmured. Some nodded sympathetically toward Rebecca. "Such a shame," Mrs. Henderson added. "He seemed nice enough." "Nice doesn't pay bills," Claudia said. "Nice doesn't provide stability. Rebecca deserves someone who can match her station, not drag her into poverty." Rebecca set down her fork. The small clink silenced the room. "You're right, Claudia. Let's discuss Daniel's flaws." Her father touched her arm. "Sweetheart, no, Dad. Claudia went to such trouble investigating Daniel. The least I can do is share what I learned." She stood. The ring caught the chandelier's light. "Daniel Matthews skips meals. Not sometimes. Often. Know why? So Lily never goes hungry. So she never feels different from her classmates. He tells her he ate at work, then drinks water to fill his stomach." "That's precisely my point," Claudia began. "I'm not finished." Rebecca's voice carried steel. "He works as a janitor at Lily's school, takes extra shifts cleaning office buildings at night, delivers newspapers before dawn on weekends. 4 jobs, Claudia. To keep his daughter in clean clothes and proper shoes. Living beyond his means. Living? He's not living. He's sacrificing every moment, every meal, every dream. The medical bills you wave around like evidence of irresponsibility? His wife died of cancer. 8 months of treatment that insurance wouldn't fully cover. Any man here would have declared bankruptcy." She looked around the table. Several men glanced away. "But Daniel, he's paying every cent. $20 here, 50 there. Because the nurses who cared for Sarah deserve their money. Because honor matters more to him than credit scores." Mrs. Henderson's eyes glistened. "We didn't know about his wife." "The ring you mocked?" Rebecca held up her hand. 3 months of skipped lunches. He saved dollar by dollar, planned every penny. This $20 ring cost him more than your Mercedes cost you, Claudia, because you wrote a check. He bled for this." "Rebecca," her mother whispered, but her voice held wonder, not warning. "Pastor Coleman told me Daniel donates $30 monthly to the food pantry, $30 he desperately needs. But he says teaching Lily generosity matters more than their comfort." "That's foolish," Claudia started. "That's faith. Something you'd recognize if you ever practiced it." Gasps rippled through the room. "Last winter, he bought new shoes for the Henderson boy. Pretended they were Lily's hand-me-downs so you wouldn't feel embarrassed, Mrs. Henderson." The woman covered her mouth. "Those shoes! My Tommy needed them so badly. He fixes bikes for neighborhood kids, refuses payment, tutors struggling students after his night shifts, sits with lonely widows at church, listening to stories about husbands long gone." Rebecca's voice broke, then strengthened. "You call him poor? His heart holds more wealth than everyone at this table combined. You say he has nothing to offer? He offers everything he has every single day. To Lily, to strangers, to anyone who needs kindness more than he needs comfort." Her father stood up, moved to stand beside her. "You mock him for being a janitor? He cleans up after children all day, then comes home to raise one with more grace than any of us show. You think poverty is his flaw? His only flaw is believing cruel people like you when you tell him he's not enough." Tears ran down her mother's cheeks. "Rebecca, we didn't understand. Because you listen to someone who measures worth in dollars. Rebecca looked directly at Claudia. Someone who wouldn't sacrifice her morning latte for anyone, let alone skip meals for love. Claudia's face flushed purple. How dare you? How dare you? How dare you investigate a grieving widower? How dare you twist his sacrifices into shame? How dare you try to destroy something beautiful because you can't understand love without price tags? I was protecting you. From what? From a man who prays over his daughter every night? Who teaches her that dignity isn't what you own, but how you treat others? Who loves me enough to step aside because he believes your lies about his worth? Several guests wiped their eyes. Mr. Peterson spoke up. The Daniel Matthews you're describing sounds like someone we should all aspire to be. He is, Rebecca said simply. Claudia stood, shaking with rage. If you're all too blind to see, we see clearly, Rebecca's father said. Maybe for the first time. Claudia grabbed her purse. This is my dinner party. Then leave, Mrs. Henderson said quietly. We'll clean up. It's the least we can do after everything. Claudia stormed out, heels clicking like gunshots. The room sat in stunned silence until Rebecca's mother spoke. We need to find Daniel. Apologize. Rebecca pulled out her phone, dialed. It rang once, twice, then went to voicemail. She tried again. Voicemail. Something's wrong. She grabbed her coat. I have to. But across town. Daniel tucked Lily into the back seat of a borrowed car, their few possessions packed in trash bags. Where are we going, Daddy? On an adventure, sweetheart. Is Rebecca coming? Daniel looked at the apartment one last time. No, baby, but she'll be okay. Better than okay. He drove away as Rebecca's calls lit up his silenced phone. Each ring a goodbye he couldn't bear to speak. The morning bell hadn't finished ringing when little Emma tugged on Rebecca's sleeve outside the classroom. Miss Rebecca. The girl's face was blotchy with tears. Lily's not coming to school anymore. Rebecca's coffee cup slipped from her hand, shattering on the sidewalk. What? She called me crying, said her daddy's packing everything. They're leaving forever. The world tilted. Rebecca grabbed Emma's shoulders. When? When did she call? This morning. Real early, she said, Emma hiccuped. She said to tell you goodbye. Rebecca ran. Her heels snapped against pavement as she sprinted to her car, yanking the door open. The engine roared to life. First, Daniel's apartment. She took the stairs 3 at a time, pounding on the door until her fists ached. Nothing. The neighbor poked his head out. They left an hour ago. Had trash bags full of clothes. Her heart hammered. The school, maybe he'd gone to resign. She drove recklessly, taking corners too fast. The principal hadn't seen him. The janitor's closet stood locked. His resignation letter slipped under the principal's door. The food pantry. The church. The park where they'd shared that picnic. Each location stood empty, mocking her desperation. Meanwhile, Daniel loaded the last box into his rust-eaten Toyota. The morning sun caught on duct tape, holding the bumper together. Please, Daddy. Lily stood on the sidewalk, her favorite doll clutched to her chest. I don't want to leave. My friends are here. Rebecca's here. Daniel's hands shook as he closed the trunk. Everything they owned fit in one carload. He knelt beside his daughter, thumbs wiping her tears. Sometimes we have to do hard things, baby. But why? Rebecca loves us. The words pierced him. She deserves better than what we can give her. That's not true. Lily's voice rose. You always say God doesn't make mistakes. Wasn't meeting Rebecca part of his plan? Daniel pulled her close, breathing in her strawberry shampoo smell. Sometimes plans change. You're scared, like when you were scared to ask Rebecca to the fair. But you did it anyway, and we had the best day ever. His daughter's wisdom stung worse than Claudia's cruelty. This is different. No, it's not. You're running away because that mean lady made you feel small. But you're not small, Daddy. You're the biggest person I know. He stood, legs unsteady. Get in the car, sweetheart. No, Lily, I won't go. You can't make me leave, Rebecca. She sat down on the sidewalk, arms crossed. Daniel had never seen such defiance in his gentle daughter. "Please, baby, I'm trying to protect you." "From what? From being happy?" He reached for her, but she scooted away. "Lily, we don't have time." The screech of tires made them both look up. Rebecca's car lurched to a stop, one wheel on the curb. She stumbled out, hair wild, makeup streaked. "Thank God." She pressed a hand to her chest, gasping, "Thank God I found you." Daniel stepped back. "Rebecca, don't what? Don't stop you from making the biggest mistake of your life?" "It's not a mistake, it's what's best." "For who?" She moved closer. He retreated. "For Lily, who's sobbing on the sidewalk? For you, who looks like someone's ripping your heart out? For me?" "Yes, for you. You don't need this burden." "Burden?" Her voice cracked. "Is that what you think you are? I know what I am. Claudia just said what everyone thinks. Claudia's gone. Humiliated. Finished." Rebecca's words tumbled out. "Last night, after you wouldn't answer your phone, her own friends turned on her. They see you now, Daniel. The real you. It doesn't matter." "It does. Mrs. Henderson knows about the shoes. The Petersons want to help with job connections. My parents." She laughed through tears. "My parents are mortified. They want to apologize. They don't need to—" "Stop." She grabbed his hands. They trembled in hers. "I know about Sarah's medical bills. Every crushing penny." He yanked away. "Then you know I'm drowning. I know you're swimming. Against currents that would have drowned anyone else. Rebecca, I know about the foreclosure after Sarah died, how you worked 3 jobs to keep Lily fed, how you chose her school district over a cheaper apartment." His shoulders shook. "Don't. I know you donate money you don't have, fix bikes you could sell, tutor kids when you haven't slept in days. Stop. I know you skip meals so Lily never wonders where dinner's coming from. I know you pray over her every night, thanking God for another day together." Tears ran freely down his face. "Please, I know you think love means having something to offer, but Daniel," she cupped his face, "you offer everything, your whole heart, every single day. I can't give you the life you deserve. The life I deserve is with a man who loves me enough to sacrifice everything, who teaches my future children that wealth isn't measured in dollars but in kindness." Lily stood up, slipping her small hand into Rebecca's. "Tell him he's enough." Rebecca looked into Daniel's eyes. "You're enough. More than enough. You're everything." His knees buckled. Rebecca caught him, held him as sobs racked his body. Years of shame, fear, inadequacy poured out against her shoulder. "I see you," she whispered. "All of you, and I love every broken, beautiful piece." Rebecca wouldn't let go of Daniel's hand. Not during the drive to church, not as they walked through the parking lot, not when heads turned at their entrance. "We don't have to do this today," Daniel whispered, feeling every eye in the packed sanctuary. "Yes, we do." Rebecca's grip tightened. No more hiding. Lily walked between them, chin high. She wore her best dress, the one with only one small patch at the hem. Daniel had ironed it twice that morning, hands still shaking from yesterday's near departure. The whispers started before they found seats. Rebecca led them straight down the center aisle, past the wealthy families who always claimed the middle rows, past the spot where Claudia usually held court. There she sat, rigid in the back corner. Their eyes met. Daniel looked away first. "Rebecca, honey." Mrs. Peterson waved them over. "Sit with us." But Rebecca kept walking, all the way to the 3rd row. Daniel's usual spot when he came was always in the back, near the door. Easy to slip out if Lily got restless. Easy to avoid notice. Not today. The pastor's eyes found them immediately. A warm smile crossed his weathered face. The service began with hymns, but Daniel barely heard them. His heartbeat drowned out everything except Rebecca's voice beside him, clear and strong. When it came time for community announcements, Rebecca stood. Daniel grabbed her hand. "What are you doing?" "What I should have done weeks ago." She walked to the front. The sanctuary fell silent. "Many of you know me," she began, voice carrying to every corner. "You've watched me grow up in this church. You were here when I graduated, when I became a teacher, when I thought I knew what mattered." She found Daniel's eyes across the rows. "I was wrong about everything that matters." A murmur rippled through the congregation. 6 months ago, God brought someone into my life, someone who taught me that love isn't about grand gestures or expensive gifts. It's about sacrifice. Daniel's face burned. He tried to shrink into the pew, but Lily held him in place, her small hand fierce on his arm. "This man," Rebecca's voice cracked, "this beautiful, humble man skipped meals for months to buy me a $20 ring." Gasps echoed off the walls. "Some of you have heard the gossip. How pathetic it was. How embarrassing." She looked straight at Claudia. "But you don't know the truth." "Rebecca," Daniel stood. "Please, sit down, Daniel Matthews." He sat. "You don't know that he's raising his daughter alone after losing his wife to cancer, that the medical bills took everything, their savings, their home, their future." Mrs. Henderson pressed a handkerchief to her eyes. "You don't know that he works as a janitor at the school, not because he lacks ambition, but because the hours let him be there for Lily. Every morning, every afternoon, never missing a recital or parent conference." Rebecca's tears fell freely now. "You don't know about the bikes he fixes for free, leaving them on porches of families who can't afford Christmas. The tutoring he does when kids struggle with homework, never accepting payment. The money he slips into the collection plate when he thinks no one's watching, money he needs for groceries." The pastor stepped forward. "If I may?" Rebecca nodded, stepping aside. "Brothers and sisters," the pastor's voice resonated with authority, "I've watched Daniel Matthews for 3 years. Never once has he asked for help. Never once complained. When the Hendersons needed their roof repaired, who showed up with tools? When the youth group needed a chaperone for camp, who volunteered? When our food pantry ran low, who brought bags of groceries purchased with his last $40? That was you?" Mr. Henderson stood, staring at Daniel. The pastor continued, "We talk about faith in this church. We preach about sacrifice, but how many of us truly live it? Daniel Matthews doesn't just believe in God's love, he shows it, every day, in every choice." Rebecca returned to the microphone. "This man some call pathetic? He's the richest person I know. Rich in faith, rich in love. Rich in all the ways that matter when you stand before God." She walked back to Daniel, knelt before him in front of everyone. "You tried to leave to protect me from judgment. But Daniel, I don't need protection. I need you. Lily needs you. This community needs you. Get up," he whispered, pulling at her hands. "Please get up. Not until you understand." She looked into his eyes. "You are not a burden. You are a blessing. My blessing." The church erupted. People stood, applauding. Mrs. Peterson sobbed openly. The youth group kids whistled. Rebecca's parents pushed through the crowd. Her mother reached Daniel first, pulling him into an embrace that surprised them both. "I'm sorry," she whispered. "So very sorry. We were fools." Her father extended his hand. "Welcome to the family, son, properly this time." Daniel couldn't speak, couldn't breathe. Lily launched herself at all of them, creating a tangle of arms and tears. Through the blur he saw Claudia slip out the back door, alone, defeated. The pastor raised his hands for quiet. "Church isn't just a building, it's a family, and families stand together." He looked at Daniel. "You've stood for us, brother. Let us stand for you." The offering plates came around differently that morning. Instead of passing by Daniel, people pressed bills into his hands, despite his protests. Not charity love. Rebecca held him as he broke down completely, surrounded by acceptance he'd never dared dream of. 6 weeks passed like a dream. The church looked different in spring light. Wildflowers spilled from mason jars along each pew, Lily's idea, executed by dozens of hands. Paper chains made by the youth group swooped overhead. Nothing matched. Everything glowed. Daniel stood at the altar in a borrowed suit that actually fit, thanks to Mr. Henderson's alterations. His hands shook as he watched the doors. "Breathe, brother." The pastor squeezed his shoulder. The pianist, Mrs. Peterson, volunteering despite her arthritis, began the processional. The doors opened. Lily appeared first, clutching a basket of dandelions and Queen Anne's lace she'd picked that morning. Her dress, sewn by 3 church ladies working in secret, twirled as she walked. She scattered petals with fierce concentration, then looked up at Daniel and abandoned all pretense of formality. "Daddy, you look so handsome." Laughter rippled through the congregation. She took her place beside him, bouncing on her toes. Then Rebecca. She wore her mother's wedding dress, altered to fit. Simple white cotton with delicate sleeves. No veil, no jewelry, except the $20 ring caught the light. Daniel's throat closed. She'd refused all offers of proper engagement rings, wearing his humble gift like a crown jewel. Her father walked her down the aisle, his face soft with emotion he'd never shown before. When they reached the altar, he placed Rebecca's hand in Daniel's. "Take care of her, with my life, sir." Her father nodded, then surprised everyone by embracing Daniel before taking his seat. The pastor began, but Daniel barely heard the words. Rebecca's eyes held his, speaking volumes. Her thumb traced circles on his palm, their secret signal for "I love you." "The rings, please." Lily stepped forward, important as a queen. She held out the simple gold band they'd found at the pawn shop, another $20 purchase that had taken weeks to save for. "Wait," Lily announced. Everyone froze. She reached into her basket, pulling out the original ring, the one that had started everything, the tiny silver band that had caused such mockery. "Daddy needs this one too." She slipped it onto his pinky finger, the only place it fit. "So he remembers." "Remembers what, sweetheart?" the pastor asked gently. "That love doesn't cost money. It costs everything else." Rebecca made a sound between a laugh and sob. Daniel knelt, pulling Lily into the ceremony, making it about all 3 of them. "You're right, baby girl. It costs everything." He looked up at Rebecca. "And gives back more than we could imagine." He stood, sliding the pawnshop ring onto Rebecca's finger alongside the original. "Rebecca, I can't promise you wealth, can't promise easy days, but I promise you'll never doubt my love, never question your worth, never wonder if you're enough, because you're everything." Rebecca's tears fell freely. "Daniel, you gave me something worth more than diamonds. You gave me truth, showed me faith, taught me that real riches aren't counted in dollars but in moments like this. I choose you. Choose us. Choose this beautiful, difficult, perfect life we're building. By the power vested in me," the pastor's voice rang out, "I now pronounce you husband, wife, and family." Daniel kissed Rebecca while Lily wrapped her arms around both their waists. The church erupted, not polite applause but real celebration. Whoops from the youth group, Mrs. Henderson's distinctive whistle, Mr. Peterson shouting, "About time." They walked back down the aisle as a family, Lily between them, hands linked. The reception filled the church basement. Potluck dishes covered folding tables, mac and cheese, green bean casserole, 3 kinds of potato salad. Rebecca's parents had offered to pay for catering, but Daniel and Rebecca wanted this instead. Real, honest, theirs. Rebecca's mother had made the cake herself, learning from YouTube videos. It leaned slightly left, but love held it upright. "Speech," someone called out. Daniel stood, pulling Rebecca up with him. 6 months ago, I was ready to disappear. Thought I wasn't enough. That poverty made me less than. That my daughter deserved better than a father who couldn't provide. He found Claudia's empty chair. She'd been invited but hadn't come. Someone worked hard to convince me of that. Almost succeeded. He turned to the crowded room. "But you showed me something different. That wealth isn't measured in bank accounts but in showing up, in sacrifice. In choosing love when walking away seems easier." Rebecca took the microphone. "We're not starting this marriage with much. Daniel still works as a janitor. I still teach 3rd grade. We'll still clip coupons and shop sales and probably argue about money sometimes. Gentle laughter. But look around this room. Look at the hands that prepared this feast, the hearts that celebrate with us, the community that refused to let fear win. We're the richest people alive. As sunset painted the windows gold, Daniel stood outside with his family. Rebecca leaned against him. Lily dozed in his arms, chocolate cake smeared on her dress. "You happy?" Rebecca whispered. He thought of the $20 ring that had started it all, the humiliation that had led to grace, the poverty that had revealed riches. "I'm the wealthiest man alive." And finally, completely, he believed it. If you enjoyed the story, I handpicked this next story that you will enjoy. Please don't miss this one. Click here to watch it.